Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. First of all, I just want to apologize for not uploading in a while. It's been quite a hectic year for 2024, ups and downs throughout my life, but hopefully everything has stabilized now and I will be able to get back to projects. And speaking of projects, this one I've uploaded now here is basically making some more frames for some of the paintings I have done. So I will go through the process. As always, we take our raw stock wood and we flatten it and prepare it. That's what I did beforehand. And now I've ripped it in half to get more pieces out of it and just getting to the right thickness or length. These are going to be the main frames around the painting, so I'm just sawing to the correct length that I would need for each side of the painting. To give more thickness to the main frame, I'm sawing out the side pieces that I'm going to stick onto the main frame. Once again, I'm just sawing out to the correct length to stick onto the main frames that I have. And when the pieces are cut to size, I'm just planing the other side where I did the rip cutting so that it is nice and smooth. And after all of that, here are all the pieces that I'm going to use. I have to mention it's for 2 paintings, so it looks like a lot, but keep in mind it's for 2 paintings, not just one. For each of the main pieces, I'm making a rabbet here as shown. This is where the painting will slot into at the back of the frame. Here I'm busy with one of the first frames for one of the paintings. I added some decorations here, I'm just rounding it off. The idea here is for the little rabbit on the side here, on the top side, I'm going to add this piece here that I've made to give the frame a little bit more, not really thickness, but more, let's call it, I guess, volume at the end of the day. And here we are, the first frame done. As you can see, the panel was glued to the end of the stick, as you can see there. And at this stage, I am now gluing the panel in place and checking if everything is squared. For this panel, I decided to stain it black or paint it black with some stain I had lying around. And as you can see, I'm applying it now to the top parts of the panel, and for the recesses I will just use this brush as shown here to fill everything out and wait for it to dry. Now I'm busy with the second panel. As you can see here, I'm cutting out a groove for the main parts of the frame, and the idea here is I'm going to glue up the little piece that I cut out as shown in the beginning of the video. After the majority of the waste has been removed with the chisel, I'm using the router plane here to get everything nice and flat all over. After that has been completed, I'm just finishing off all the sides of the main parts here before I will glue in the top piece. This is just to make it easier to do the work now before I do that later on. And here's the top piece being glued to each of the main pieces, just to give it an extra bit of thickness. With the glue being dried, now I can add decorations to each of the top pieces, as you can see here, using my scraper plane. Just adding some patterns, grooves and flutes at the end of the day. I didn't show it with the parts for the first painting, but here I'm showing how I cut out the 45 angles for each of the frames. I'm using this old Stanley meter saw, which does a very good job of getting it very accurate without having to spend too much time fiddling with it. And once again, after all of that, it's time to glue it up. And while it's being glued, I'm checking here the corners to see if they're the same length. If they are the same length, that means it's squared, and if it's not, I just need to do adjustments, as you can see here, and sort of reiterate it until I get more or less the same lengths crosswise. To add strength to the frame after gluing it up, I'm adding here screws on the top and on the bottom sides of the frame. That way it won't be seen, because if I did it on the sides, you can easily see it being screwed in. So from the top and the bottom, it's very difficult for someone to see it, except if they go looking for it. I'm just tapering the hole here to get the screw to go flush or underneath the frame, so it won't be seen. And here, of course, I'm adding the screw now to the frame. This will ensure that it's very sturdy, because I can't rely solely on the glue joint, especially with 45-degree angles. They're not that well equipped for bumps and bruises. And then for this frame, I decided to use a very dark brown stain on it that I also had lying around, as you can see. And here is the frame now finished after being stained and left to dry. Now the next part is to add each of the paintings to the frames. These are the brackets I'm adding at the back of the frame that will be used to add the rope to hang the frame to the wall. And here is the metal wire I'm using to hang the painting. I'm just using a screw in the middle to get it to the correct size so it won't overextend the painting when I'm hanging it. Now with all of that done, here's the first painting, the black frame that I did in the beginning. It's been completed and I'm very happy with it, how it came out. And then of course the second one with the dark brown frame. I'm also very happy how that came out and very pleased with the result. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Cheers!